Hello, guys, and welcome back to the FPL Duo. We're back for a team selection video for Double Gameweek 20. It feels like a while since we made a video, but yeah, we've got to discuss quite a bit today. I think this is going to be a good stream. Game Week 19 is still actually not finished because Chelsea do play tonight against Fulham. So we'll talk about our Game Week 19 quickly and also look ahead to the big Double Game Week 20. And talk about our transfers, our captain picks, any topics and debates that we need to be, they need to be discussed. Should we triple captain Haaland? Should we not? Should we take out Darwin or what to do? Because there's a lot of dilemmas for Game Week 20. But before we get started, how you doing, Jordan? Everything good?
Yeah, everything's good. Hope everyone else is having a nice week so far, especially with the other competitions of football going on at the same time. It has sort of filled that gap for not having any Premier League action going on, but soon enough we shall return to the Premier League with maybe a few shocks.
Yeah, but let's get into it. Let's talk about Game Week 19 very quickly. We'll touch on Game Week 19 scores and then move to Game Week 20 plans. So I want to bring up my team. So obviously, for those that don't know, Game Week 19 has gone pretty bad for me so far. It wasn't a good game week. So as you guys can see, I'm not going to go too into details. So Ward, who blanked at the back, the back three did pretty good. White with the clean sheet. Trippier also got the clean sheet with the 8 points. Cancelo blanked, obviously was benched. In the midfield 5, Rashford did get a goal, which was nice. Mount annoyingly was injured for the first game, and he missed out through injury, but he is playing tonight. He does start against Fulham away, so hopefully Mount can get me a goal or two, which would mean a green arrow for me. So I'm really relying on Mount to change my Game Week 19 around for me, but we'll see what he does. Up front, Haaland, he blanked against Chelsea, wasn't it? So fortunate there. And then obviously Mitrovic, who went and scored as my captain, but as you guys know, he did pick up a yellow card, so he is missing tonight in the fixture for Chelsea, which is annoying because he was a doubler. But only the 10 points from him. Nothing really on the bench. I got 46 points with Mount left to play, so I should get a few more points from Mason Mount hopefully. But my rank's currently at 1.3 million as well. Not a great Game Week 19 so far. But that's my Game Week 19 anyway. Let's bring up your team, Jordan. Just talk us through how you've done in Game Week 19. Recap. And
Okay, so we have Ederson in goal, who got the 8-pointer in that Man City game. It was very close, but they did manage to keep a clean sheet, and Ederson did get the bonus 2 on top of that as well. So there's a nice little recovery at the end of that match. In the defence, it went pretty well. Trippier again gets another nice return, 8 points. Nothing much to say about Trippier. We all know he's doing so well in defence. Cancelo, on the other hand, is pretty the polar opposite of Trippier, as he has been terrible so far, not really getting much from a premium at over 7 million. He's been quite expensive. And another blank for him, 1 point. Obviously came on for a few minutes, and then obviously only got 1 point for that. Luke Shaw, on the other hand, very good week for Luke Shaw again, getting the goal, clean sheet, and bonus points on top of that with a nice double haul, 15 points. So again, Man United are bringing the points in another game week for 19. Moving on the midfield, we've got Martinelli, who did blank in that Newcastle game. He got the 3-pointer, 1 point for the clean sheet and 2 for the match time. Almiron, similar situation, just the match point points that he got and a yellow card, so he did only get 2. Otherwise, he would have got the same as Martinelli. Bruno Fernandes, he did get another assist from Marcus Rashford's goal, which was another nice return from Bruno Fernandes. Unfortunately, he hasn't scored yet. Hoping he can, because he has come close at some opportunities, but so far it has been all assists from him. And we've got Rashford as the final midfielder, who did score late in the game. And Did reward owners with 8 points, so it was a nice return from the triple Man United. Again, did very well overall. Up front, it was pretty quiet. Nketiah blanked with a yellow card. Haaland, surprising rare blank from him. Yeah, only the 2 pointers, and I captured him, so he got 4. And Darwin Núñez, who had, again, similar situation, many chances, but none were finished, so that only left him with 1 point, followed by a yellow card in that, so another point was taken off of him. And yeah, that's overall how my starting 11 went. Pretty much on the bench is quiet. Got Danny Ward, he got 2 points for Leicester. Rodrigo did score in the Leeds game, even though Leeds played really poor. Rodrigo managed to get a goal and got 6 points. Dunk for Brighton got 2, as Brighton did concede 1 goal. Ben White did manage to get a clean sheet against Newcastle, and I think got a bonus as well on top of that. So a bit of annoying. 7 points on the bench from him, and quite a few points on the bench, but I'm not too bothered about it because I did get a green arrow, a slight green arrow, broke into the top 500k with 483,000 green arrow rank. 57 game week points. All my players have played. I've got no players tonight in the Chelsea and Fulham game, so that is all the points I'm going to get from this game week. And yeah, my total points is 1,110. So overall, it has been a decent game week.
Okay, nice. That's game week 19 out the way. We thought we'd recap that for those that missed it, maybe the knee-jerk reaction stream. But let's move on to game week 20, which is what we're here to talk about. This is a game week 20 stream, and talk about how we're going to line up, talk about our transfer plans, because I think both of us have 2 free transfers. And yeah, let's discuss all the topics as there is quite a lot to get through. So just quickly, I've got Danny Ward in goal, who's got Nottingham Forest away. I think that's a pretty decent fixture for Leicester. I know Leicester haven't been good, but I'm hoping that Danny Ward and Leicester can keep a clean sheet against Nottingham Forest. So we'll see. I am playing him, obviously. I went with the Leicester goalkeepers. He hasn't really paid off so far, but I'm hoping now is when the fixtures turn a bit better, they start keeping some clean sheets. Moving on to the back 3. So as of now, I've got Ben White, who's got Tottenham away, which I think is a tough fixture-ish. Don't know. I mean, I think I'd probably expect Tottenham to get at least 1 goal. So maybe not expecting a clean sheet from Ben White in that game. Moving on to Trippier, who does have Fulham, which is quite a good game for Trippier as well. Potential clean sheet, maybe. Also, yeah, we know what Trippier is like going forward, so I think he's a good option. I'm going to play him. Cancelo, we will come on to and have a deep discussion probably as well. I mean, we have had a discussion on Cancelo in our previous transfer video. He's got Manchester United away, and then he's got Tottenham at home. I am 50-50 on what to do with Cancelo due to John Stones apparently is now injured, and he might be a doubt for the game against Man United. I was sold on Cancelo to Stones, pretty 100% I was going to do that, but now the fact that Stones might not play, that's leaning me towards just keeping Cancelo in the team because he's got a double. And by the way, I don't expect Cancelo to start both games. I think he will maybe start one if he's lucky, and that is. I do not expect him to start both, so I don't really see it as a double game week player anyway. But I think I want to keep him anyway. Hopefully, he gets a sub appearance in that Tottenham game, or maybe he starts one subbed on another. Moving on to the midfield 5. Currently, I've got Mason Mount, who's got Palace at home, which I think is a good fixture for him, maybe. But I'm not sure I want to keep him for that game, if I'm being honest. But it is a decent fixture at home as well. We've got Salah at Brighton away. We'll come on to my transfer plans that involve Salah, but he's got Brighton away, which I think is a decent fixture. But the way Liverpool are playing, we said, Liverpool don't look good. Darwin Núñez, news has come out today as well. Darwin Núñez is injured. The rumors are he hasn't trained for a few days now, and he is a big doubt for that game against Brighton on the weekend. So Darwin Núñez owners have a decision to make on their hands. Would you sell him or hold? I think I'll probably get rid of Darwin if I was an owner. So yeah, Salah I think is a decent fixture for him, but Kevin De Bruyne has got a double, so I am swayed. We'll come on to my transfer plans in a bit. In the midfield, I do also have the double Arsenal attack of Saka and Martinelli. We know they've got Tottenham away, which isn't the easiest fixture, obviously being a North London derby. But I like Saka and Martinelli long term. I think they've got good fixtures. After these set of games against Tottenham and City, I think Arsenal have really good fixtures coming up in the future, and I'd want to hold both of them long term. So that's why they're in my team, even though they don't have good fixtures probably in the next couple games. Moving on to another double game week player is Marcus Rashford. I think if he's not in your squad, I'll be very surprised because I think he is very popular now in a lot of teams. He has got a decent double game week. Man City at home, which is obviously a bit tough. I wouldn't expect Man United to win that, but you never know. And then he has got a better game week, a better fixture against Crystal Palace away, which looks like a nice one for Man United and Rashford. So hopefully maybe Rashford can get something in that game. We'll see. So I think he's a priority potentially to have in your team, guys, for this double game week. I think he is the best Man United asset. So yeah, he's in the team. And then up front, I've got Erling Haaland right now up front and Mitrovic. Mitrovic has Newcastle away. I think that is a bit of a tough game for Mitrovic. Newcastle away. Newcastle are very good at home. And Fulham do have some tricky fixtures coming up. The next 2 or 3 fixtures are quite tough on paper. But after that, Mitrovic does actually have really nice fixtures. So I may hold. I will come on to why I may hold potentially. And then Haaland, obviously, he's got Man United and Tottenham. Tottenham at home, Man United away. We've seen what Haaland has done so far this season. He did get a hat-trick earlier on against Man United this season. He's the captain, and we're going to have a discussion on triple captain because I am actually tempted to triple captain Haaland. I will explain why in a sec. I am 50-50 right now. Maybe by tomorrow, I'll lean towards more of actually placing the chip on Haaland and using my triple captain chip. But yeah, on the bench, as you guys can see, you've got Everson, Greenwood, Patterson, and Reece James. So I've got 2 players that are red flagged. I need to take care of that. I've got 2 free transfers as well. So it leaves me with some flexibility to do some moves. I've got 0.3 million in the bank as well. So I have some options, So what I'm currently thinking is 2 moves. So Salah is on the chopping block. I think I am considering taking Salah out just because for Kevin De Bruyne, because, Kevin De Bruyne does have some nice fixtures coming up. He is a double game week player. And Kevin De Bruyne also had a double game week in game week 23. So that's 2 doubles in 3 game weeks. And I am tempted to bring him in for those. I know Kevin De Bruyne hasn't been amazing recently, but it is Man City. They can click into gear any time. And I think I'd want to own KDB for those fixtures. So yeah, Salah for me, Liverpool don't look the same. Even Salah, Liverpool don't just look as good going forward. So I am tempted to do that move, if I'm honest. And then the other one I'm going to get rid of, I think, is Reece James. Obviously, Reece James has been injured for a while now. I just kept him in the team because I didn't need to make the move. But now the player I want to look to bring in is, I'll show you guys here. So let's take out Salah and Reece James off the bench. Those 2 are the players I'm looking to take out. And I'm bringing in KDB and Luke Shaw, and then Luke Shaw comes into my starting 11. So those are the 2 transfers I'm gonna do. I'm pretty certain on De Bruyne and Shaw. I may take a hit, guys, but we'll come on to that in a sec. So currently the 2 free transfers are James out for Luke Shaw, who is a double game week player, and I think Luke Shaw has a potential to get a clean sheet, maybe in that Palace game. I don't expect a clean sheet from Luke Shaw in the Man City game at home, but you never know. And then after that, Man United do have Arsenal as well coming up, so maybe not a clean sheet in that game. So we'll have to see. But I think Luke Shaw is a good pick long term as well, if Man United do get that confirmed double next week as well. So I think Shaw's a no-brainer for me to get into my team. Unfortunately, I was going to bring Luke Shaw in last week. I kind of didn't do it in the last minute, and obviously Luke Shaw went on to get a 15-point haul, which was annoying because I was going to get him in, but no, never too late. I've bought him in. I'm going to bring him in now. And then, yeah, I've explained De Bruyne. I just prefer De Bruyne over Salah now. Double game week, 2 double game weeks in the next 3 game weeks. So that appeals to me. I want, Man City attacking players. I know the fixtures aren't the best on paper, but yeah, I think I want to back the double. And then that is the team at the moment, guys. That leaves me with 0.9 million in the bank as well. And that's my 2 free transfers used up as well. But as you guys also know, I am contemplating taking a hit. I could be swayed into taking a -4 or even a -8 if I feel like I need to. So one move I am planning on taking, which I haven't got on the screen right now, was actually Mitrovic out for Anthony Martial. We know Martial is a double game week player, and I was tempted to do Mitrovic to Martial, but the reason why I haven't, no, I might not, go down that route, is because we don't know if Martial has a double in game week 21. It's not confirmed yet. So if I hear Man United have a double game week in game week 21, or was it game week 22, whichever one it was, I will bring Martial in if that's confirmed before the deadline tomorrow. If it's not, I may just stick with Mitrovic. The other one, I could take a punt. I could take a Mason Mount out, and bring in someone else. But I haven't really, I was thinking of maybe changing the team up, dropping Cancelo down to another defender, and then taking Mason Mount up to Riyad Mahrez, and having Mahrez, De Bruyne, and Haaland. But I don't know if I'd go there because obviously the risk with Mahrez, etc. But for now, those are my plans, guys. James and Salah out for De Bruyne and Luke Shaw. So that's how my team looks for double game week 20. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. We are going to get to a few of your questions in a sec. So also, guys, drop your questions in the chat. And also, if you haven't already, please drop a like on the video and also subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. So I hope I've explained that. Jordan, let's bring up your team for game week 20.
Yep.
Talk us through your lineup and transfer plans. I'll bring it up. There you go. Oh, hold on. Yeah.
Okay, so this is how my game week 20 team looks like so far currently. So we got Ederson in goal, who has a double game week against Man United away and Tottenham home. I kept Ederson in and brought him in for the reason of really Cancelo, because he was a fail-safe just in case Cancelo, as expected, hasn't performed really well so far. So I did want someone that was nailed to keep a clean sheet in their fixtures. And, well, thus far, hopefully, in one of these matches, hopefully in the Tottenham at home fixture, Ederson can keep a clean sheet. I don't think they can against Man United away. I think that would be really, really tough fixture for them. But I think in that second one as possible against Tottenham, depending on their form in that game, they can potentially keep a clean sheet, Man City. But he is in my team nonetheless, Ederson. Moving on to the back three, we got Trippier, who's got Fulham at home, so he's a single game week for him. That's another good test for Newcastle defence. It is a bit unsure at the moment currently of Trippier's availability for that game, because he did pick up a slight issue in one of the Carabao Cup matches that Newcastle played the other day. Trippier was apparently had a slight problem on the field. Whether it's serious or not, I'm not sure. I don't think it is.
Yeah, I think you should be fine.
Yeah, it's nothing to worry about too much. It's just maybe a little knock, but you should be fine for the Fulham at home match. But it is one to keep an eye on. Next, we've got Cancelo, who I've never thought about taking out the team for more reasons than none, because he has a double, and it would be quite crazy to take out a double game week player, especially replacing it with another double game week player. I feel that's a waste of a transfer, especially on the defender as well. And in particular, Man City's defense hasn't been the greatest, so definitely not swapping it for another Man City defender. So yeah, he's potentially staying in my team for the double. I do think he'll play both. I know some people may not agree that he may not.
He won't start both. I'm pretty certain he won't start both. I'll be shocked. But we could have a little bet.
Yeah, because this is Pep. This is what Pep does. He throws in shocks more than any manager I've seen in Premier League. And even though Cancelo has been really poor, as it was shown in the match against Southampton, that was probably his worst game I've seen in ages. These are massive games for Man City, and because they're massive games, they must win, because they need to keep in the title race with Arsenal, as they are, I think, 6 points behind them currently, and they want to keep in that title race. They won't want to lose it. this early on in the season. So I feel like he'll play Cancelo just because he is more experienced in that role. I think
Mhm.
for Rico Lewis, he's young, he's less experienced in these types of matches, especially against the Derby, Man United, and Tottenham at home. These are massive tests for the defence, and I think Pep may decide to play Cancelo despite his poor form. Moving on, we've got Luke Shaw, who's got Man City at home and Crystal Palace away, so another double gaming player. He has been great so far, Luke Shaw. I don't really mind what he does against Man City at home. I don't expect a clean sheet from Man United. If he does, then it's great for him because he is a bonus point magnet and potentially will get maybe a bonus 3 or 2, depending on how Man United perform in that game. In the Crystal Palace away fixture, their second one, I do believe they can keep a clean sheet in that, Man United. I think that's a much more easier and potential clean sheet there. And again, Luke Shaw is a perfect candidate for bonus points if Man United are to keep a clean sheet in that. So Luke Shaw can do pretty well in both those fixtures. Moving on to the midfield, it's quite a congested midfield going into game week 20. We'll start off with Martinelli, who's got Tottenham away. It's going to be a tough game yet again for Arsenal after coming off the 0-0 draw against Newcastle beforehand. This will be another massive test for Arsenal to see if they can beat one of the top 5 teams. Tottenham have had their on and off days that will be seen in defence, especially, but I'm sure they will step it up against Arsenal as they'll want to give a good match, I would imagine, from both sides in that game. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens. We've got Amron, who's got Fulham at home. He does come off of a blank against Arsenal. I'm pretty sure he can give a return against Fulham, as Fulham do concede a lot of goals. They have conceded a lot of goals, not kept many clean sheets so far this season. So there is potential that Amron can be part of the goal spree that may happen against that home fixture. We have to wait and see. But yeah, he's starting in my game week 20 team. Moving on to the 2 doublers for Man United. So I've got Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford. Both have Man City at home and Crystal Palace away. And this completes the triple Man United. I'm quite fortunate that I did bring in triple Man United so early because I didn't predict that they would have actually a double game week in game week 20. So it was quite a fortunate transfer to bring in not just Rashford but Bruno Fernandes, who not many people still not own. He's still quite low owned, I think, because of the price, and he's only really delivered 2 assists since coming back from Boxing Day, but with no goal either. But I think he can do well still in these matches, just because he is like maybe a cheaper KDB with assists coming here and there. I do think he can benefit from definitely Crystal Palace away game if he can assist either Rashford or someone like Martial leading to a goal. He is quite clever in his approach in terms of that. And the Man City at home one, he'll give it a good game, I think, as well as Man United overall. I think they'll give him a really good game despite their previous result of losing 3-0 to Man City. I think now it's a more reformed, more structured Man United that they can give it a good fight. Moving on to the last midfielder, and this is one that probably no one has in their teams really, who was pretty good at the start of the season, is Rodrigo, the Leeds midfielder, who has Aston Villa away. Now, I did read on Twitter that Patrick Bamford will be available for that Aston Villa away game. So it was kind of I don't know what to think of that, because Rodrigo plays better, obviously, when Bamford's not in the team, because he plays more attacking. Rodrigo basically plays what Bamford does. And I feel like Rodrigo just plays better in that position than Bamford. And because he's also injury prone, Bamford, I don't know how long he was going to actually last. I mean, every time he comes back from injury, he sort of has a relapse and then gets re-injured again. So I'm kind of hoping that he stays on the bench, Bamford, for that game and then comes on and Rodrigo starts up front, just because I feel like he'll benefit more without Bamford starting. So I'm kind of worried if Bamford does start, that Rodrigo won't get as much attacking threat in that, especially in that Aston Villa game. But we'll have to see closer to the time, because he might just be rested and play a few minutes, as injury-prone players are not really recommended to come back straight away into football. Moving on to the front two, though, we got Haaland, who's got Man United away and Tottenham home. Massive talking point about Haaland, whether a triple captain is worthy of him at the right time or not. It's a massive talking point.
Yeah, we'll get onto that.
Yeah, it's a massive talking point whether he's triple captain worthy. But yeah, he's obviously got the captaincy over him because of especially the double. And moving on to Darwin Núñez, who, as we just found out a few minutes or hours ago, that he is reportedly injured. So that is a massive blow for our Darwin owners, especially after he did blank as well, after having so many chances. I feel like this is like a massive slap in the face now that he's now injured and potentially won't play in the Brighton away game. So he is a doubt for that, which is, it does give me actually a benefit in my team, because it is sort of like a benching headache, as you can see from the team bench who I've got on there. That is difficult to play particular players, but because Darwin's now injured, I think that just gives me an avenue to play around with using a free transfer. So after talking through the starting 11, I'll talk through my transfer plans and move on. So I have 2 free transfers and 1.9 million in the bank. So I am planning to use just 1 free transfer. I don't necessarily need to use 2, just because I'm happy with the team. Like, there's nothing I would change. I won't bring in any more double Gameweek players, as I do have 6 already in my starting 11. I don't think I necessarily need more than that. And the rest of the team looks pretty fine. I'm not really fussed, apart from Darwin, who has given me the priority to do something with him. So my plan is now to take out Darwin just for 1 week, depending on how bad his injury is. Whether I bring him in Game Week 21, we'll have to see. But replacing Darwin, I have chosen Mbeumo, who has Bournemouth at home. So he has the best fixture of Game Week 20 against a struggling Bournemouth. And this transfer really depends on if Tony is going to play in that game or not, because that could easily change to Tony if he is available for that Bournemouth game. It is not sure, because he is still flagged for leg injury, which wasn't as serious as first thought. It is a minor one, but it will come down to the wire whether we know if Tony's going to start in that Brentford game or not. We'll have to wait and see. But at the moment, I have picked Mbeumo if Tony is not to start in that game as the choice. And yeah, that only uses 1 free transfer. I'm going to roll the other transfer, obviously, because there is potentially a double game week. We don't know yet, possibly for Man United and maybe for Brighton as well. We'll have to see. So I'm going to roll the 1 free transfer just in case of that. It does leave me with a lot of money in the bank, because Darwin was pretty expensive. So I've got 5 million there. So for budget reasons, I'm quite happy, and team-wise, same happy. I mean, on my bench, I've got cover. Got obviously Danny Ward gone on a Forest away, but I'm not going to play him because Edison has a double game week. Nketiah has Tottenham away, so just in case anything happens, Nketiah come on first bench. Ben White, same situation. If a defender doesn't play, then obviously Ben White will replace anyone he's got Tottenham away also. And then we got Dunk, who's got Liverpool at home. Potentially Brighton may keep a clean sheet in that. Who knows? Without Darwin, apart from Salah, there's only the real goal scorer there. So, but yeah, that is my transfer plans, and that is how my team is looking like for Game Week 20 onwards.
Okay, nice. Interesting moves. Bringing Mbeumo in is different. Obviously, I've not seen any teams contemplating bringing Mbeumo in. So I like the move. Obviously, he's got a nice fixture. We spoke about Brentford and stuff, didn't we? And in the Nijek stream. So yeah. I'm gonna read a few comments out. There is about 20 of you in here watching. If you haven't already, guys, please make sure you drop a like on the video. And also, if you are watching for the first time or you aren't subscribed, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. But yeah, some comments. We got Martin in the chat. Shout out to Martin Football. My team: Trippier, Trent, Shaw, Lewis, Mings, Mount, Martinelli, Odegaard, Salah, Andreas, Nketiah, Mitrovic, Haaland, and 1.5 million in the bank. What should I change? What do you reckon? Would you change, Jordan? I'm assuming he's got one free transfer because he hasn't said to us. So
This is just to be different, but I would take out Mount and bring in a player like Rodrigo, just to be different this week, because I know the obvious choice is Salah to Kevin De Bruyne because he has a double, but I'm anti double game week, as you can tell, this week. So that would be my pick.
yeah, I mean, you could do something interesting, like, and if you want to be risky and take a punt, you could do Mount to Mahrez. Mahrez been playing really well, but obviously the caveat is he could get benched in one of the games, and that's always a worry with bringing in players like Mahrez and Bernardo, etc. But they do have high potential to score once they're in the team. So yeah, you could do something like that. Managed that he's captaining Rashford and he's selling Kepa and Cancelo for De Gea and Tanganga. Interesting. Rashford captaincy, obviously. Man United do double this week. Is Felix worth to get? Says Manish. Obviously, Felix is playing tonight. His debut for Chelsea. It's gonna be interesting to see how he does. I think we've got to wait and see. With Felix, how he settles in. So I wouldn't be rushing in to get him. Wait and see. I think see how he does tonight. If he plays good, if he looks good, then maybe he becomes an option later down the line. I believe he is a 7.5 million forward now, Felix for Chelsea. So not a bad price, but I think we've got to wait and see before we rush him in. With Darwin out, will that not mean Salah moves into the middle? Good question from Colm, actually. I think there's a high chance this actually happens because I assume Firmino's still out because Firmino wasn't seen in training. So Liverpool could have a front three of Salah, Gakpo through the middle. I mean, Gakpo probably will go to the middle, I think, actually. And then on the left, they'll probably play Oxlade-Chamberlain. Because Oxlade-Chamberlain been playing on the left for a few games as well. So they could do Oxlade on the left, Salah on the right, and Gakpo down the middle. But obviously Salah cutting in still. And yeah, but Salah's still a good pick, I think. But I don't know. I wouldn't... Personally, I am swayed to KDB. Not just because of the double, but because KDB had another double in game week 23 as well. I know Salah could potentially double in game week 21, but that obviously isn't confirmed yet. So we'll have to wait and see. But Liverpool don't fill me with that much confidence, if I'm honest, currently. So as coming from a Liverpool fan, they just don't look at the races for me. I think this was a question for you, Jordan. Taking out Cancelo could facilitate a Darwin to Kane move for you. And I think there's a few chats actually saying swap Darwin for Kane. Obviously, you've gone Mbuemo. Have you thought about Harry Kane? There's a few comments here about Kane.
Yeah.
Have you thought about bringing in Harry Kane, who's got a double game week as well? Obviously, Mbuemo is a single game week player, but have you considered it?
Yeah, I've considered it, but I have to remember that Kane is on 4 yellow cards. So if he gets 1 yellow in that first fixture, then he becomes a single game week player. And because of the fixtures as well, Tottenham have, one of them being Arsenal, I'm not really confident that Kane can provide that much. I know it's his favourite fixture as well. He likes scoring against Arsenal, but this Arsenal is a new reformed team that we've seen the best in a while. So given into consideration as well, Tottenham's form has been up and down like snakes and ladders. It's unsure whether Kane... I know he's been consistent a lot this season as well, fixtures, despite that. His form's been great, but this double game week for him has given me doubts as well.
Arsenal and City, so 2 tough games. Yeah. So
it's the potentially the 2 best teams in the Premier League at the moment. So it is a massive test for Harry Kane, and I feel like I don't really want to go down that route because I know a lot of people have already, and I want to kind of go different as well with my team. I don't really want to follow the sort of the trend that everyone else is going for. So that is why I've decided to go with Mbuemo, because no one's really going to consider him with his easy fixture for game week 20.
Yeah, obviously, Mbuemo could pay off, or Tony, whichever one you go for this week, definitely with Bournemouth. I think Kane could be a decent pick, but how many do you expect him to score against Arsenal and City combined? Maybe 1 goal. We don't know. He might score 1 or even if he gets 2, it will be great. But I don't know. I think Kane does have tough fixtures, as we said, Arsenal and City. Yeah, he's playing the 2 best teams. I think Spurs will probably sit deep and try counter attack. I don't think they'll take the game to either of the teams. I think they'll sit back and maybe look for a counter attack with Son and Kane, which could work. Different style of football, not as much pressure on Tottenham being the underdog potentially. But I can see why you've gone with Mbomo, because Kane's fixtures don't look as appealing, maybe. But as we also have said, Kane has 15 goals in the Premier League, and he actually is quietly, going about his business, and he's scoring goals pretty much with every week, really.
Yeah. Also, one more thing. I did try the transfer from Darwin to Kane, and I was short of, I think, 1 point something million. So I wasn't able to afford that one free transfer. Otherwise,
But
I may have
you
been
could
tempted.
you could do Cancelo down to and use your 2 transfers. You could downgrade elsewhere Cancelo to, I don't know, a Laporte or a Ake or whoever. I mean, but that will mean you use 2 transfers.
That's the problem. I don't really want to use another 2 when maybe there's another double game week in 21.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Just a thought. Alex says, I'm going Cancelo to Akanji, Darwin to Kane. I think this is the move you probably could do as well. Or keep Darwin and go Andreas to Mahrez. I mean, I'd probably get rid of Darwin now if it looks like he's going to be out for a while. Potentially, I've seen rumors of 3 weeks or whatnot. But Klopp does have a press conference tomorrow, so Klopp will be asked about Darwin Núñez. So I suggest everyone tunes into that. The Klopp won't give much away because Klopp doesn't give much away at all. I think he said one time about Konate. Konate is only a minor injury. He'll be back soon. And then he was out for 4 months. He done it with Firmino. He said Firmino's out, minor injury. Firmino was out for it. Now Firmino's still out. He's still not back here, and it's been game week 20 now. So Darwin, he said it's a minor injury, but I wouldn't trust Klopp if I'm honest. He likes to downplay injuries, and he would not give the full seriousness of the injury. I don't believe he would do that anyway. So I think Darwin, it could be a couple weeks. So I would get rid of him probably if I had him. Any questions? Mitro not starting. Yeah, obviously he picked up the yellow card in the last game week. Elliot's in the chat. Shout out to Elliot. Mandeep. Hey guys, should I get rid of Walker for Akanji or Ake or double up on Newcastle defense? Interesting. I expect Walker to at least play one of those games, if I'm honest. So I wouldn't swap Walker out. I think he will play. I think Walker is more likely to start these games than Cancelo. So I'd expect Walker to play on the right hand side, and I'd expect left back to be Ake. That's so I actually don't see Cancelo starting, guys. He may play one of them. I think he may play against Tottenham. I think he could get benched against Man United. Personally, for me, Cancelo, I'll be surprised if he starts both. Very surprised. I think he might come off the bench for one of them. Maybe half time he comes on for Tottenham. Half time he comes on against Man United if it's going their way, and maybe he starts Tottenham. So I wouldn't swap. I don't think I would get rid of Walker. I think Walker is fine. It's like Cancelo. You should get at least one game. So I don't know if I'd do it, if I'm honest. I'll just keep Walker. Jordan, would you just keep Walker? Or
Yeah, I'm completely against bringing in another defender, a Man City defender for another Man City defender, because even if you do that and they play the full 90 minutes in both, it's not guaranteed that both games will be clean sheets. They could be both conceded and blanks for the defenders. So I do feel like it's a waste of a transfer if you're bringing in a Man City defender for another one. If they're going to get 2 or 3 more points than Cancelo will, I don't feel there's much upside to it. So I'll probably just go with the second question and double up.
Yeah, it was another question: keep or sell Cancelo. I think it depends. If you don't have Luke Shaw, for example, if you're in a position you don't have Luke Shaw in your team and you want Luke Shaw, I'd sell Cancelo for Luke Shaw personally. I think it's worth it for Luke Shaw. But if you're wanting to do it for, I don't know, someone like an Ake or like Ake, for example, I'm not sure. I was gonna do Stones in because I know Stones is nailed for when he is fit, and I would have liked him for game week 23 as well. Plus, I don't have Edison as well. So if you want to cover clean sheets that way, I think Stones was decent. But obviously, Stones is now out. So I think keep him if you have other things to do. But if it's for Luke Shaw, the only one I look to bring in is Luke Shaw. if you've got Luke Shaw, then you could just keep Cancelo and try use your transfers elsewhere and upgrade your team. But what defenders are there that would really want? I mean, I know Newcastle have been mentioned. Newcastle defense. Someone in the chat, for example, will double up on Newcastle earlier. So I think Botman is a good pick. But the problem with Newcastle, I believe, is because Newcastle actually won yesterday and went through to the semi-finals, Newcastle will blank in game week 25. So if you bring in a Newcastle player, assuming you've got Trippier as well, you'll have two players that blank in game week 25, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I think Newcastle will blank in 25. So you'll have to, you'll have to navigate that. But Newcastle do have some good fixtures coming up with clean sheet potential. So I like Botman as a pick, but we know he's going to blank, and you'll have to prepare that as well. So unless if you know that and you don't mind that, then yeah, I think Botman could be a decent pick. I think Aston Villa defense could also be decent, guys. Martin mentions Mings. Obviously, Aston Villa actually have a fixture, I think, in game week 28. So for those that don't know, game week 28 is going to be a big or a fairly big blank, where a lot of teams won't have a fixture. And Aston Villa are one of those teams that actually have a game, and they play. Can't remember who Aston Villa have, but in game week 28, Aston Villa do play in the blank game week. So Mings could be a decent, pick to cover, to have a playing player, because a lot of us will have players that don't have a game at all. So Mings and Aston Villa in game blank game week 28, just a forward planning, guys. So do bear that in mind. Rashford in, Mount out. Yeah, I think that's an easy move. Rashford double game week, and he's on form. Mount obviously a single game week player. So yeah, I think that's an easy move you could make. Who would you start, Jordan? Mitrovic or Gabriel? The Arsenal centre back.
I'd probably start Mitrovic, even though he has Newcastle and they haven't let many goals in thus far. I still think Gabriel for Arsenal, they may concede a goal. So I'll probably go with the attacker as well rather than the defender.
Yeah, I always go with the attacker. It's just more upside. Mitrovic has proven it, as I've said, this season. He has scored against the big guns. And even though Newcastle defense is very good, you never know. So I know it could get a penalty or something like that. So I'd always play the attacker. Doherty for Mings. I'm not sure. I don't know about that. I'm not. I don't think I don't see Spurs keeping a clean sheet against Man City or against Arsenal. So yeah, I'm not sure I'd go there. Triple captain Haaland. Let's talk about this one, because we were talking about it earlier, obviously off the stream in privately. I'll go back to my team for a sec. So this is my team, guys, with the 2 free transfers that I'm gonna make. And for those, obviously, I don't have the triple captain chip active right now, but I am. I did tell Jordan earlier, I am contemplating triple captaining Haaland. And should you triple captain Haaland, guys, or should you wait? What should you do? This is a big topic. I'm gonna give my side. I'm trying to be quite balanced. I'm gonna give the pros and the cons of why Haaland could be a good pick this week. So I am leaning towards potentially going in game week 20. And yeah, I'll just go through my reasoning. So a lot of people are considering captaining Erling Haaland because the way when Haaland came into the season, we said, whenever Man City have a double game week, whenever that is, the first thing we're going to do, look at it, we're going to captain Haaland in the double. Now, they have Man United away and Tottenham at home in this double game week 20. Now, if we look at it on paper, it looks like a pretty tough double. Man United away at Old Trafford, and then Tottenham as well at home, which is another top 6 side. So, and also to caveat that, Man City in the league haven't been amazing. I know they lost against not Nottingham Forest. They lost against Southampton yesterday. But for me, that Southampton game, if you look at the lineup, Haaland didn't play, or he didn't start. Kevin De Bruyne didn't start. So there is a few changes they had in that team. So I wouldn't look too much into that rotated team, because it was a rotated team from them. And if you look at their last league game, Man City did smash Chelsea 4-0. And if you look at Haaland, he has had a rest as well for, I think he'd been benched for the last 2 games. So for me, that's a positive. De Bruyne has also been benched for the last 2 games. So both these players have been rested for these 2 double game week games. Now, people will also say the fixtures aren't great. I mean, I hear that. On paper, they aren't, but why should you go now? Why should you not wait until, let's say, why shouldn't you wait till game week 23 when Man City have Arsenal and Villa, I believe, or even later down the line when Man City could have better fixtures? The only issue with that is Champions League will kick off in February again, and there's always going to be that, as we've seen in previous seasons, when the Champions League kicks off again, Pep rotation times 5 times 10, because when Man City are playing a lot more fixtures, Haaland is going to be more prone to be rotated because obviously the fixture schedule. So we know in terms of expected minutes, Haaland should play close to 180 minutes in both those fixtures. He should play both those games because there's a 4-day gap between Man United away and then Tottenham at home. And in game week 23, where Man City play Arsenal and Villa, it's only a 3-day break between the games. So there's a 4-day turnaround in that sense. So that is a positive for me as well. And yeah, so that is what's swaying me. And I know a lot of people will say as well, another thing is people say about effective ownership. And there's a lot of people I've seen on Twitter say, or even in general chat, why should we captain Haaland? He's going to be 250% EO. He's not a differential. I'm going to use it on another player that's lower owned, so I'll get more points. But for me, that doesn't make any sense at all. And I'll explain why, guys. Because first of all, why have we captained Haaland? Why are we captaining Haaland this week then? Because he's going to be 200% anyway this week. Why don't we go for someone like a Rashford who's very low owned? I asked to these people because if it's about going for, if it's about avoiding effective ownership and going for the player that's, popular and everyone's doing it anyway, then why are we captaining Haaland anyway? If that makes sense. Because you should captain someone that you think is going to score the most points, not one that you think I'm going to go for effective ownership. Because if you played your season with that same logic, you would not have captained Haaland at all, guys, throughout the whole season. And as we've said, with perma captain Haaland, everyone's pretty much perma captain Haaland. So for me, that's that effective ownership. The effective ownership angle, it doesn't make sense for me, because if you are going for the effective ownership angle, then you just don't captain Haaland in normal weeks anyway. What's the difference? Because we're all captaining Haaland this week. If you are, then why don't we captain Rashford or Martinelli, etc.? So that's where I come from. I think we shouldn't look at effective ownership being high owned or being popular or everyone's going to do it anyway. I think that's not the way to look at it, because we should look at it in the way that we think, who's going to score the most points, and we're going to captain that player. And it's happened to me before, I think last season with Mo Salah. For those that remember, Mo Salah had a double game week against Norwich, and I can't remember who else. Mo Salah got 26 points, and the people that captained him ended up on like 63. It was just the obvious pick, but if you didn't do it, you missed out. And I think sometimes we try to be very different when maybe the obvious is staring us in the face. And yet, the main negatives, I think, if you do want to go against Cities and captaining Haaland, I think it probably is the fixtures, because Man United and Tottenham are tougher games. Man United have improved, and Tottenham is the top 6 team. So there's pros and cons, guys. I am leaning towards game week 23. I'm going to come on to your opinion on it, Jordan, and what your plans are, obviously, on there. But I think we shouldn't look at effective ownership at all, because that doesn't make sense. Because if that is the case, then why are you captaining Haaland this week, next week, the week after? Because everyone's doing it. Then there's no point. It's more about getting the points on board, because if Haaland scores 2 goals today in this game week, you double that, you're still going to get those points. It's not, if you be different. I mean, obviously you need Haaland to blank. So what I'm essentially saying is effective ownership for me is very it's moot. It's a moot point. It's more about who scores, and that's why we're captaining Haaland anyway, guys. Because I mean, we're pretty much in that territory of the perma captain, and that's the way I see it. And I know people will say like Manish as well, captaining Rashford. I think that's fair enough. If you want to captain a different player, I think there's definitely a potential for that, because I think Rashford does have a decent game week coming up. I think in not this game week, I mean, you could go Rashford if you want, but Man United do have potential doubles coming up later down the line, and the other reason I haven't mentioned why I'm potentially going with Haaland is because my other chip. So when are we going to use our chips, guys? Because we have our chips ready. We're in game week 21, so we have to plan when we use these. And for me, I actually plan on using my my bench boost, my free hit. I've already planned it all out, so when to use them. So that's why I'm looking at it now. When can I actually use my free hit? And there's only two. I've only found two potential scenarios where I can use my free hit. One is in this game week 20, and the next one is game week 23, when Haaland plays Villa and Arsenal. And then I plan to use a free hit, the bench boost, and even the wild card. So a lot of people will probably wanting to wild card, save their triple captain later down the line. I hear that, but I've actually planned to use my wild card then, because we do have other chips, guys, and you'll need to use them at one point. Because if you leave everything till the end, I mean, as long as you got a plan when you're going to use all your chips, then it's fine. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the Haaland. Should you captain him? Should you not captain him? I am leaning towards the captain. Hope that's made sense. But we've got a chat from Brian. Hi lads, I'm currently on Haaland triple captain, 18 minutes, 21 goals already. Best team in the league. City and Haaland haven't been up to standing recently, but they always bounce back. I mean, yeah, if you feel like Haaland is going to score the most points, then yeah, captain him. But triple captain is down to, do you believe you're going to get better opportunities down the line? If it's with Haaland, there's potential rotation risk. There's potential injuries that can happen, because we've seen with Haaland, especially with Borussia Dortmund, he could pick up injuries later down the line. We don't know expected minutes. Is Haaland going to play both of these games against Man United and Spurs? We are pretty confident he will, because these are big games. Circumstances could change later on. It's something that we don't know. So it is a bit of luck as well. We won't know where the situation is going to be, what teams are going to play. And guys, also we've got to take into consideration is, we're looking at it thinking, I'm going to double game week. I'm going to captain someone when they have a better double game week. But for example, Liverpool could actually have a very nice game week in game week 37. Liverpool could have someone like Bournemouth and Leeds, I think. But the problem is Liverpool need to reach the FA Cup semi-final to get that double. And if you want to risk that, Liverpool and these teams going far in the FA Cup, that's what you'll have to take into consideration as well, because Liverpool haven't been great as well. So if you can see them going far in the FA Cup, then you could wait out and more doubles will be confirmed. But for now, that is my thesis of why you should maybe consider Haaland. I am on it. I'm more tempted as we get closer to the deadline, but you'll have to tune in tomorrow and see if I actually go there. We've got another question actually from Martin Football. I think I'll let you take this one, Jordan. Are these good transfers? Salah out for KDB, Mitro for Ferguson, or Mbeumo for Mitrovic?
I like the Mbeumo for Mitro because I've sort of done a similar idea to that. I've basically done it for Darwin, who's injured. So I did like the Mbeumo move because he does have Bournemouth at home, which is a nice fixture. Salah out for KDB, I think that's quite a popular pick as well. I probably would do the same. If I did have Salah, I'd probably move to KDB, as Liverpool haven't been that great. And in particular, Salah hasn't been consistent this season as we hoped for. At 12.9 million, he is taking up a lot of money for not producing much form. So it would make sense to transfer him out. So I'll say that's a good transfer, Martin. Salah to KDB. And obviously the one for Mbeumo for Mitro.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. I mean, I'm doing Salah to KDB myself as my plan. So yeah, I'd back that one. United have a potential double in 22. V Palace and Leeds at home. Yeah, obviously potential. United could double, and obviously this is when you could potentially triple captain Rashford, etc. If you guys are tempted to go without someone that's not Haaland. But coming back to that triple captain debate, I'll get your opinion on it. I think Haaland's the best player in the league. I think he's shown it this season. We've been scared to kind of not captain him. So why would you go different? Obviously, I spoke to you, Jordan, about the triple captaincy earlier. Why are you tempted to go with someone that's not Haaland? Because if I want to debate with you on this one, because if you are, how come you captain Haaland every week anyway when you know his effective ownership is very high anyway? Why don't you try go different in a normal week?
That's a good question. I mean, I think it all depends on also the rank gain. It's
Mhm.
probably a debate whether you get more rank gain if you triple captain Haaland, or do you get more if you triple captain another player that's not really highly owned? That's a differential that
Yeah.
does maybe better than Haaland does in his pick for triple captaincy. So there is that sort of upside and downside to triple captain a differential pick over one that's got a high effective ownership. That is probably the situation I'm in currently, whether I decide to go different, even though I have captained Haaland, and most of us captained Haaland through the rest of the season so far, as it would make it obvious to say why. Are we changing our minds, even though
Yeah,
we know?
that's what I feel like. I feel like um are we just not gonna captain him because it's too obvious? When we're doing it anyway, really. It's just a triple captainship usually worth what 15 points roughly a season. I know KDB got like 980 or 86 points that week, but I think last season, which was mad for those that did captain him. But yeah, I mean, I think it will depend on your strategy as well, guys. It's very different. Like when I'm gonna do it, it depends on. I've chosen it because of my other chips, like my wild card, my bench boost, my free hit. I've planned to use those in other weeks, and then the week I've got spare is 20 or 23. So I think you'll have to. It will be team dependent, but I think when you've got a player like Haaland with his goal record, it's very hard to back against him. Personally, I know the fixtures are tough, but yeah, it's a very it's a very interesting topic because it's a lot on the timeline on Twitter, etc. But yeah, Simi Sunshine says Joao Felix has scored. Hasn't kicked off yet, has he? I think he's just trolling us. Um, Jordan, is it worth -4 Darwin to anyone? Oh, I mean, what would you reckon?
I think unless you have a good bench, Johnny, I don't think it's worth taking a -4 hit for Darwin to anyone else. I mean, if you don't have a good bench and you need a starting 11 player to replace Darwin, then yes, I would say it's worth a -4. But I would say it may have to be a double game week player just so that
Yeah,
-4 is potentially covered uh, worthwhile.
yeah. I
Unless
mean,
you know, unless you're confident on a single game week player that can uh, basically make up for the -4.
uh, I wouldn't really do it as well if it's not for a double R, because obviously you'll get your points back just for their minutes played, and you hopefully they can get a return. But you've said excluding Martial and Kane, and those are the two that have the doubles. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I would do it for one of those. I'd do Darwin to Kane. I'd probably do it if I was in that position, just because I wouldn't want Darwin at 9 million he's taken up just to be on the bench. If that makes sense, I'd rather put that money to use into the team. We're probably going to wrap the stream up here because we are going to go live again tomorrow. We're going to do a deadline stream. I'm sure it's going to be a good one on our opinions. Are probably going to change again tomorrow because we want, I might want to take a -4 or might want to take a -8 or something, but I doubt it. I think -4 could be on the cards, but probably nothing more. Um, any last questions? I'm going to try read some questions out that we haven't covered. It's a lot of City. I'm going triple. Alex he's going triple captain this week. Free hit, wild card 29, 33 bench boost. Okay, fair enough. It's not possible for me because I already have Martial and I can't afford Kane. Nanjay also says I have 2 free transfers. I don't have Kane. Is it absolutely necessary to have Kane for the double game week? No, I don't think it's necessary. But I think he could score 1 goal. I think at least. But I wouldn't say it's necessary that you have him. I think the necessary players, like the ones that I believe are the best, like Rashford, Kevin De Bruyne, even maybe Haaland if everyone's got him. Obviously, Luke Shaw I think is popular as well. I think Luke Shaw may be more necessary than Harry Kane. So yeah, I don't think it's necessary, but
No.
he's got a double game week, so people will be tempted, especially with Darwin now being injured. It gives everyone the reason to just take Darwin out for Kane. So
yeah, I agree. I don't think it's necessary to have Kane. I mean, if he had a single game week, and we wouldn't have flicked an ear at bringing Kane in, but because he has 2 fixtures, it still doesn't persuade me because one of them is Arsenal. And I don't even count that as another fixture for Kane because that is going to be really hard, especially when Arsenal don't really concede that many goals either. So it's going to be challenging for Harry Kane, especially we have to hope as well for Harry Kane doesn't get yellow card in that first double game week too.
Also, the other thing is if you've got KDB and you've got Haaland or let's say Salah, whoever, 2 premiums, to get Kane in, to get a third premium in, you have to change the structure of your team quite a bit, and you'll have to make do with other things in other areas, and maybe it takes up too much money. I'm not a fan of freemium right now, just for the structure reasons, but yeah, I don't know. I think that's another problem with getting Kane, De Bruyne, and Haaland. There's 3 players taking up a lot of money, and it's not easy to fit them all in and have a decent team as well. But yeah. I think that's it, Jordan, for today. Obviously, Chelsea kick off, so we're probably going to end the stream now anyway. We're back tomorrow at 5 p.m. UK time. It is a 6:30 p.m. deadline, guys, so don't forget, 6:30 p.m. Deadline. We're back at 5, so make sure you join us. If you are still watching, guys, don't forget to drop a like on the video. And as always, please subscribe to the channel if you are new. I want to say a massive thank you to all the new subscribers as well. If you have enjoyed, as always, don't forget to drop a like. Anything else you'd like to add, Jordan? Before we go.
Just thank you everyone for joining the stream, and obviously welcome to the new people that have subscribed to the channel. Thank you very much. So much appreciated, and hopefully you enjoy our content. And yeah, enjoy the Chelsea Fulham game, which is now kicked off, and hopefully you all get green arrows, the ones that still have players left in game week 19, as this is the last fixture. So yeah, take care, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, guys, take care. It's been a good one, and hopefully we see you guys tomorrow for us with a deadline stream. So yeah, peace out.